Welcome to Bootstrapped Unicorns. I'm your host, Josh Pies, and this is the show where scrappy founders, rebellious visionaries, and business misfits pull back the curtain on what it really takes to build something extraordinary from absolutely nothing. No trust fund, no fairy god investor, just grit, duct tape, caffeine, yeah, and that dream. We're talking about the wild, unfiltered ride of turning chaos into cash flow and ideas into impact. So buckle up. This is no Disney movie, but there might be some magic. Let's face it, even Elon started in a garage. So without further ado, let's get to the next episode. Welcome to Bootstrapped Unicorns, presented by C47 Digital Studios. Bootstrapped Unicorns, it's Josh Pies. We are back for another episode, and as I promised last episode, and as I do at the end of every episode, someone awesome is coming on that's going to add value in your world. So I met Dawn Von Graff through my friend Julio. Julio is a tour guide. He books your trips and your vacations and your hotels. He is all things travel for me. We're booking a cruise. And for everybody in my BNI group, you probably know that I'm the president of my chapter and he's one of our awesome members. And he always tells us that he really knows his ship. Right? A very funny tagline. You can't forget it. And he introduced me to Dawn, who arguably is his boss. And she is the franchise owner of the Expedia franchise for Central Florida. Think about that. Central Florida, Orlando. We have a mouse in a castle. We have Harry Potter running around everywhere waving his wand. We have the brand new Epic Universe. We have SeaWorld with all of the sea life that my family adores. And we have Gatorland, the best half-day park in Orlando. We have all of these things and then some. We're one of the number one tourist locations on the planet, Orange County Convention Center, like all this stuff. And she's got the franchise for here. And I'm curious, we're going to find out if it matters and it affects her business being here, or if maybe it's so virtual these days that she's just booking everywhere and the location maybe did or didn't matter. We'll find out. But I want to introduce you to Dawn. And what we're going to learn today is a little bit about the franchise journey, a lot about running this business. And then at the end of this, wait, because she's going to give us tips on how we business professionals can think differently and act differently about our business travel. And I've done enough on the road over my career. I used to travel more than 1/3 of my year. And me and my team, we used to book all of our own travel. And I think I was doing it wrong. And she's going to help fix me and she's going to help fix you. So you got to stick around. So without further ado, Dawn, I am so honored to meet you. This is our first time hanging out. Well,
hey, Josh, thank you so much. I've been looking forward to this. Julio raved about you.
Oh, that's very kind. It's a mutual admiration society. He's one of those really cool dudes.
Those are the best kind, actually.
I very much enjoy them for sure. So, Dawn, I know that you're the boss. I know that you are a travel guru and you've got this franchise. And I'm curious if we could talk a little bit about who are you and why were you attracted to working in the travel and tourism industry? How did you get to here?
That is an interesting journey. I've been many things in my life. In my 20s, I actually was a tour director for a company called Globus Gateway, who's still around, and Cosmos. And I took groups all over the world in my 20s. Great job for your 20s. I was also a troubleshooter. So when they had hurricanes and we had oil spills, they would call me in to handle the groups because I don't get upset with things. I don't get flustered. I pivot very quickly. I can find new solutions. I help people get organized. I don't let them get me riled up. So, and that's something that's really good when you're on the road, because the one thing that travel really teaches you is to handle change. Nothing's going to go perfectly. Nothing. No matter how good your travel agent is, who arranges every detail. But the good thing is that knowing that you've covered everything you can in advance, you've got someone there if you do need them. So that's what ended up after my 20s. I had a computer company called Techno Nerds. We're geeks you don't have to be.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we were evolutionary back then. Nobody had anything like it. My mom was an insurance agent, and I figured she was your normal computer person user. And I asked her, Mom, that computer I got you, what kind was it? And she goes, gray. I said, well, technically that is a correct answer.
Yep, sure.
Not what I was going for. And back then they didn't have anybody that handled regular people to fix computers.
So you say back then, what is back then?
I'm sorry?
You say back then. What is back then? When was this?
That was the year 2000.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So that was...
Yes,
That was in
Yes,
between. Yeah. So I'm picturing
yeah.
the year 2000, you got Y2K. You do have more personal computers showing up around the world, but we certainly don't have the internet the way we know it now. That was
not
a
at
new
all.
world.
I had to convince people that the internet, that free access to worldwide data was not going to be a trend. I'm also a geek. My license plate is Geek Diva. So it was just, I can never say anything 100% because that's just not how, it works in my world. But I was like, I'm 99%, 99 sure that free information is not going to be a trend. You need to do this. Oh, our brochures work fine for us. And we're like, okay, the world's changing and you need email. Who's going to use that? It's so impersonal. I'm like, okay, then. So it was a different world back then. Now everybody's a little bit of a geek. They know what RAM, back then no one knew what RAM was versus, ROM or versus a hard drive. Nobody knew any of that stuff back then. And so that was the interesting thing with employees because I actually had employees back then. Yeah. I'm going to bring this up because it's different from where I am now with the franchise.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes. When I had employees, they were paid a salary. And I remember after 9/11, that was just horrific. We had people that didn't call for 3 months. Our phones did not ring. Wow. Did not ring. Yeah. People were letting computers fall apart on the floor. It was a different time. And I kept all my people on. My payroll time was $16,000 every 2 weeks, which would equal now probably $50,000.
Yeah, that would be a completely different world. I mean, inflation, and we were having this conversation in my own family the other day. My kids couldn't believe that gas was ever under $2. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, let's talk about how, a thing of eggs was 89 cents, right? Right. Yeah, it's so 16,000 was enormous back then.
It was enormous.
So can I pause you and just say, I am so proud to know a person who has the ethics to take the hit to protect your team. That's rare and beautiful. That was really cool of you.
Well, I felt it was the right thing to do. Like you said, responsibility for it. And we got our office very clean. Everything was good. But then as soon as people started calling, I remember one of my team said to me something like, listen, I had a really hard day with my husband tomorrow. Can I just take tomorrow off? And I'm like, okay, for 3 months, I've destroyed my savings to cover you. And now we finally get calls coming in and you just want to take off. You've read magazines for 3 months. And that got a little difficult for me with the employee mentality. It's a different mentality. And that ties into coming to the franchise now because I ended up selling my first business. I opened up 2 franchises and then we ended up selling it. But what happened was that I then went to work at Marriott in sales and I love Marriott. Oh, just love them. And I was responsible for my own self. And that was nice for a long time. Then I actually was in sales for the Vacation Club, which is timeshare. Okay?
Got it. Now, and this is not Disney Vacation Club. It's their own vacation club?
Correct. Marriott Vacation Club, right. And I went to them because they were very ethical, as you said. They were very, very, very high on morals. And it was something that was important to me because I knew about the industry. But I really liked the product and I own a lot of the product of the Marriott Vacation Club. I use it all the time. Our team does retreats because I get us Tuscan villas by the Ritz for a weekend. And everyone comes out and we all do, the lazy river and then do little, group meetings, a lot of fun. So that was good until that became really sketchy. As things got harder and harder in timeshare, and then our company Vacation Club separated from corporate Marriott.
Oh, they spun off? I didn't know that.
Yes.
It's probably old news for you.
I'm sorry, was that?
I'm sure it's old news for you, but I was not aware that that spun off.
Most people don't know. Yeah, exactly. They went private and things went to hell in a handbasket in a lot of ways. And it became so bad ethically that I was telling people, ignore what you're hearing next door. Here's how it really works. And it got to the point where my husband was like, and I was making a lot of money doing this. I was good at it, but I worked probably 25%, 30% more time than most people there because I actually helped all my clients. And I have people that still call me today. And I've been out of that now for 8 years.
Wow. Okay.
And so my husband said, honey, it doesn't matter how much money you make. You're going to have a heart attack or kill somebody. You need to get out of there. So I took off almost 6 months. I did marketing consulting and branding consulting, which is a thing of mine. Obviously, I started brands, as you heard.
I can see. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
And so I started looking for what I really wanted to do. And I took my time. And like I said, I was doing other work on the side, helping my friends. And I saw this because obviously I adore travel. I've done something I travel all my life. And I thought to myself, who uses a travel agent anymore? And then I realized that I did.
Sure.
And I'm a geek, a total geek, and I'm a travel expert, and I use one. But what I realized I was doing was that on small trips, I did it myself. I just go book it. But we were doing a trip that's going to cost about 10 grand for a cruise, a long cruise. And if I'm spending that kind of money, I'm going to make sure I enjoy it. So I called my friend who uses a travel agent. I said, hey, do you think Danielle will mind if I call her? And she said, Dawn, she's been waiting for you to call. I'm like, okay, all right. So I called her and I said, look, I'm looking at a cruise. I'm going to send you what I've been looking at. And I emailed it to her. Let me know what you think. I picked out 3. And she called me back. She goes, okay, number 1, she goes, the ship is 100 years old. You're going to hate it. Number 2 is a good choice. Number 3, the people on the cruise ship are older than the first cruise was. First cruise ship was. She goes, so the one in the middle is fine. I'm going to send you one more to look at. Let me know what you want to do. I said, great. Looked at the 2. I said, okay, book that one for me. Take my credit card, keep it. Whatever final payments due, just do it. And it was done. And then I got on board and she sent us presents. We're in the room.
Wow.
I never would have gotten it on my own. Yeah, you don't get that when you book yourself, right? There was wine and there was chocolate with strawberries. And yeah, so I'm like, well, that's just sweet of her.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so I started realizing that I did use a travel agent. And if I'll use one, anybody could use one. Right?
Yeah.
And have you ever heard of the Dow Circle of Knowledge?
No, I can't, but educate me.
I love this, right? The concept is the more I know I don't know.
Oh.
So if what you know is the size of a dime, right? Then around the dime, the circumference, right, is how much you don't know. So I thought, I know a lot about cruises. I've been on like 35 cruises already. I know a lot. Well, what I knew was what I knew, the contemporary brands. I knew Royal, Celebrity. I knew those guys, right? Well, when I started looking into it, I realized I didn't know that there was other kinds of cruises. There was yacht cruises, riverboat cruises. I mean, I heard vaguely of them, but I didn't really know what they were. You know, there's ones that specialize in going to places like South America at the bottom of it, or Antarctica, and breaking through ice. I didn't know about that. So now my circle of knowledge is the size of a nickel. I'm like, oh, crapola. Now I know I don't know about these because now I know that there are river ships. Which ones are there? What are they different? How are they different? Right? And so then it goes to a quarter. So now I know I don't know this much because inside river ships, there's 5 different divisions. And then there's this and there's that. And so as your circle of knowledge gets bigger, you know you don't know more. Yeah. Right? And regular people just don't have the time to devote to knowing it all. I'm sure Julio will tell you, we spend a ton of time training and watching videos and trying to figure out the differences. And so that's one of the big things when I was looking at a franchise. I wanted someone that had the software and the training background and the connections to start realizing how important those things were to make it feasible to be successful. Yeah. I believe in setting yourself up for success. Anybody who knows me, and Julio will tell you, that I'm all about plan B and plan C. I'm all about that. So I always have, this didn't work, but let's do plan B. Right. I'm always there. So I wanted to make sure that this was set up for success. And the more I did research, the more I realized that a good internal training system was important, that obviously people knowing you and trusting you. People don't realize this, but 25% of all websites online about travel are fake.
What?
They're fake.
Fake in what way?
Fake that they go to a Ukrainian or a Russian or a, Polish website that servers that are all fake. They put together a real quick, nice website and it looks great and you pay because it's a great deal.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
And I want to tell you that whole saying about if something's too good to be true, it probably is usually really true.
Probably especially in your industry then, since there's so much fraud happening.
Absolutely. And you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
I've had people get pulled in by offers for like free flights if they do this. And then it turns out that the flights aren't free, or you win a free cruise and there's actually a huge amount of extra fees involved on it that would have cost you less to go yourself.
Right.
So that's part of it. And then also, obviously with Expedia, I knew they were expanding the brand, which they've done substantially. So that was important to me also about the future growth of the company I got involved in. And I also didn't want to be limited to just cruise. There are other franchises, like for instance, there is cruise planners. And I'm not saying anything bad about any of them. They all have their areas.
Yep.
One of the benefits for me with cruise planners would have been a much lower buy-in cost. Much lower. Like maybe 10,000.
Wow. That's really cheap, actually.
Yeah. Mine cost a house. This cost a house. Yeah.
Yeah. And you chose to buy in. You chose to buy into Expedia. So you are a actual franchise owner. And you have a specific region, I'm assuming?
Correct.
How's that work?
My region goes from West Orlando over here, Ocoee, just north of Windermere, right on top of Windermere. And then I go the whole way across and I have Winter Park.
Oh, okay. So you have my whole area. That's very convenient. I like that.
Yes, yes.
So, and by saying that, the people who live and work here are the client targets for you, but you can book anywhere on the planet then. So we can shop to go to. Yeah. Yes. Got it.
Yeah. The Americans, the company is formed of Americans and Canadians. The Canadian ones have been around so long that 1 in 4 cruises in Canada is booked at an Expedia Cruises travel agency.
Wow.
Yes.
That's massive market share.
Yes. Now, can I tell you something really fun and fascinating?
Please.
Okay. Part of this is based on cultural differences because of my branding background, and I'm really good at it. I don't say that because I just like myself. I've actually won a boatload of awards for all this kind of stuff. Now, there are things I'm not good at, but we don't have time for that list. So I'll stick to what I do know. Okay. And with Expedia, one of the things that they didn't get at first that I've been working with them on diligently for the past year and a half is the difference between American and Canadians. Oh. The Canadians, we talk about how nice they are. You must have heard the jokes. I got my husband a t-shirt. It says, when a tree falls in the woods, how many Canadians apologize? It's just, they truly are the nicest people. Nicest people.
True story. My realtor, who I've done 3 transactions with, was born in Vancouver, still has tons of family there. His son still lives there. He happens to live in Orlando now. And he is so nice that he apologizes if he's a minute early. He apologizes if he's a minute late. He apologizes if he buys you a gift. Like, it's crazy. And he's such a good guy. And so I can tolerate it.
It's true. It's true. It's totally true. So Expedia came into the American market and they didn't necessarily catch the differences at first because we seem the same. I mean, we all speak the same language and all that. But I started working with them after COVID because I was like, you guys, we are different. The Canadians are nice and sweet and they want to help you. And if you do this job, they want to help you do well at your job and they want you to succeed and and they're willing to accept help. And I said, and they've been around long enough that they went through the transition with travel agents and realized what benefits there are. I said, Americans aren't like that. We are arrogant. We know everything. We can do it better ourselves. And I know damn well that if you give me a deal, you're trying to screw me over on it because I can do better if I still find it myself. Pardon my bluntness.
Well, no, it's true. We're all so self-reliant. We all believe and my show is called Bootstrapped Unicorns. We're all about bootstrapping and creating our monster business. And we've all walked through, Manhattan and had some street vendor going, $25. And you're like, I'll give you $5 for 2 of them.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, the Canadians would apologize. I'm sorry, that's too little. Let me give you a little extra. You deserve it. Yes. So I was trying to explain to them that with Americans, this nice advertising you have, it's not us. You got to get in our faces. Yeah. You got to say like, with us, without us. With us, here's what's going to happen. Without us, here's what's going to happen. Yep. And give hard examples. So we've actually been working on that with them. But that's also the way I work with my people. I explain to them that you need to go out there and the first thing you need to do is to educate people on this. I said, and so do it quickly. Like I'd go to a networking function as a real quick example, and I'd have 45 seconds to talk, which as you can tell, I talk pretty quickly so I can get a lot in 45 seconds. Yeah. Okay. And so, but like, I remember one of the girls in front of me, so sweet. There's 88 of us. She stands up. Hi, I'm with the Fairfield Inn. I hope you use us when you have a group. Thank you. And sat down. And so I got up and I'm like, okay, everybody, Let me ask you a question. Who here thinks you're great at booking your own cruises? Raise your hand. Everybody, right? You're all great at it. How many, you all know a lot about cruises. Great. How much do you know? How many cruise lines do you know? Do you know Royal? Yeah. How many more do you know? 4 or 5? Okay. On Royal, you think you're pretty good at that? You're pretty much an expert? Yeah, you are. Great. All right. How much is the drink package for 2 people? Anybody? Anybody? Give me a guess. How much per day? Anybody? $20, $30? Nope. It is over $80 a day on sale. So for 2 people, that's $1,120 you paid for the week. Okay. On your discount cruise. All right. How about excursions? Because you only stay from 9 to 4 and they do that on purpose because they know you got to do an excursion. You don't have time to go do anything yourself, right? $100 minimum per person on average. You go on 4 out of the 5 days, you're almost another $1,000. Okay. Tips, another $200, $500, $300, right? Specialty dining, you want to do a little bit of that. That's now $80 a person. Okay. So suddenly, okay, your discounted cruise that would have cost $1,500 a piece, you end up now paying $7,000 on, $8,000 on to have the experience you want to have, right? Now, what if I told you, if you thought differently, that you could have a 4 or 5 star experience in a suite with all drinks included, with gratuities included, with laundry included, with free transport downtown. You stay there all day, sometimes overnight, so that you can actually experience the city. So you don't need to excursion. You can do what you want to do. What if I told you it would cost you the exact same or sometimes a little less than what you paid for the lower level Royal Caribbean? Wow. You know, mid-level Royal lower Caribbean. Which would you want to do, everybody? You want to do Royal or you want to do this one here that I just described? The 5 star. Everyone's like, the 5 star, the 5 star. There's the 5 star. I said, great. I said, what cruise line is it? I said, anybody? I said, only one cruise line fits everything I described. Who is it? Nobody knows? I said, okay. I said, who does know? The entire room yelled, you're travel agent. I'm like, mic drop. So that was, and then that took me, like probably about a minute. But I lived there with 5.
Point, and it's very direct.
Yeah. And it's real.
Yeah.
People have no clue. They think about one little aspect of it, not all of it. It's part of our job is to write the experience you want to have.
Yes.
And make it fit. People say to us, I want a good kids cruise. Great. What's that mean to you? Because some people, I have reps who get all excited. Oh, great, Disney. Well, they may hate the mouse.
Right.
They may want to do nothing but slides. The kids may be 14 and 15, just want a great teen club. Yeah. They may want to do none of that, spend time with their kids because they never get to. And they want a nice cruise line that includes a lot of activities for the family, like maybe cooking together.
That's actually on a cruise?
Yes, okay. Absolutely. Yeah. We had a doctor that I was helping, and his wife is a lawyer, and they both worked, as you can imagine, crazy hours. Sure. And we put him on a cruise that had a lot of these family activities. And he came back and he said the best part of the cruise was when he and his daughter, who was in her young teens, made a pizza together. And he goes, she put her phone down the whole time. And they were laughing he said it's the most time he'd spent actively with his kids in a year.
Sad to hear that for him, but what a wonderful gift that he had the experience.
Right? Yeah. So that's just a few things. Give examples of what we help with that people don't even know exists.
So, Dawn, I've got some questions that go different directions here because we're talking branding. Mm-hmm. And I have a question because you've created this incredible brand that I'm aware of, and we need to talk about the pet brand. And if you're listeners, if you're listening and going, what do pets have to do with this? Just wait. She's going to mic drop this hard in a few minutes. But I think now is actually a good time to connect this for entrepreneurs because you're talking about at a level of expertise that the average person cannot muster because it takes a lifetime of experience that you're building with you and your team. Tell me about making better decisions as business professionals for our travel professionally. I told you, I used to do all my own booking or I'd have my assistant do it. And now I'm thinking there was probably a better way. And is it as simple as just building a relationship with your team so that I have a travel agent in my pocket to take care of this? Is it that simple?
Can you imagine a restaurant that you go into and they know you and you sit down and they say, okay, yeah. Oh, we have this thing you're going to love because we know you like this brand. Mm-hmm. That's what happens when you have a relationship with your travel agent. We're having an example would be Rocky Mountaineer. Last year, my husband and I did it. That's the big train you've heard of that goes through the Canadian Rockies with the dome top, right? So you go on there and there's these huge, luxurious first class seats with like 3 feet in front of you, and you sit back and they come along with a cart like in first class on the plane, and they have this warm cake and they cut it for you and they drizzle warm sauce over it. And then you go downstairs later to the downstairs dining. So it's kind of like the Orient Express,
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's a cool experience. So they're having an event coming up at the Orlando Museum of Art. And it's going to be an hour and a half, and they're going to show videos of all of their new ones that are out in Utah and the Mojave. You can go do. They're really cool. And then they also have the ones in the Canadian Rockies, which regardless is stunning scenery.
Right.
Even if you don't necessarily want to do it, right? And you're at the Museum of Art, which is fabulous. They're going to have food and drinks. So I know it sells out right away. Okay. So even though I don't handle many people anymore, I have some people that just won't leave me because we've become buds.
Yeah.
So I went on and booked 8 tickets immediately for them because I know it's going to close out, and it's a free event. And I said, you guys, I signed you for date night.
It's
amazing. April 2nd. Let me know if you can do it or not. I already signed you up. I've already had 6 get back and say yes. They want to do it. Thank you so much for thinking of them. They wouldn't have found it on their own.
So,
and that
to dispel any fears in the system from somebody who might go, yeah, but I don't want the added expense of having a travel agent. Is it my understanding that it actually is not an added expense?
That is a great question. Thank you for asking that. I love you for that. If I didn't already enough, it's just got bigger. Okay. Absolutely not.
Okay.
What happens is the cruise lines pay us, and all the travel companies like Globus, the tour companies I used to work for, they pay us. They're either paying us or they're paying their own phone people a lot less.
Got it.
Okay. But either way, they're paying, and they love it because what happens is that we get you on the right thing. So you book more and you book better. We had a couple come in who were in their late 50s. And they're, and we were talking and they're like, someone told me to stop by here, but I'm going to tell you right now, we are never cruising again. And I'm like, what happened? Well, their daughter was 21 and she had gone on a Carnival weekend booze cruise. Pardon me for just using generalizations. Yep. Not trying to trash anybody, but these happen, especially during spring break. The kids get on there and it's just crazy.
Absolutely.
And she had a great time. And she told her parents, you got to go cruise. You got to try this. They're like, it was awful. We were getting sick all over the place and drunk and there was craziness going on and never cruise. I'm like, you went on what? I would never put you on that. So that's one of the things that booking with us, they know now what cruise lines they like and they book all the time. We got them on Celebrity and a couple other brands that they love. So now they become cruisers. And they're not the kind of people that would ever want an inside room. So we explain in detail, graphically, using visuals, why a balcony is so much better. Why people, when you have a balcony, you never go back. It's worth a little bit extra per day for the experience and the space and the quiet time in the balcony in the morning. It's so worth it. And so they get that and they have a sublime experience as opposed to thinking, this is awful, I'm never doing it again.
So let's take this to the boring for a second. Like I had a documentary series in the heartland of the United States where I had to travel a lot and film for big manufacturing companies. And so I was finding myself in Des Moines, Iowa. I was in Omaha, Nebraska. I was in Fargo, North Dakota. I was, Schaumburg, Illinois, all these places, great places, awesome people. And I figured it all out using the Expedia website. I've been an Expedia user for 20 years, but it was nerve wracking. It really scared me as going through this. And there were some stories, not good ones. And so, and we're talking a lot of cruises, but can your team also service the mundane?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I will tell you that sometimes it's just time-wise for yourself. If you don't have a set schedule, you'll be changing things a lot. You're on the road, you do it last minute. Expedia is fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Things like this is going to sound really crazy, right? It's going to sound really biased, but like I have people that do Airbnb. Okay. And the challenge I have with Airbnb is that I've had people have just awesome experiences with it. Absolutely awesome. We've also had like horrific things happen. Yeah. One of the funniest ones is people in California had booked it and they stayed in the guest house. They came morning for breakfast and the wife is crying hysterically and she grabs them and tells them how her husband just left her for their secretary. Can they stay with her? And they're like, we really have to get in the road. We just wanted a muffin. She's like, please don't go. And my husband and I were laughing. He's like, yeah, that won't happen to the Marriott. I'm like,
No.
probably not.
Wow.
Probably not. Yeah, you've heard about the videos. You've heard of the one where, and these are all true. There was one where the AC unit was old and bad and 20 people died. I'm not saying these things happen all the time. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that these things don't happen at like a hotel that is more watched.
That's right.
More, has consistent standards.
Yeah.
And if we get the complaints at Expedia.com even, they'll handle them. If you do book through us, then we do take care of it for you. We do all, and that can be invaluable for you time-wise.
Sure.
If you're booking a vacation or a business trip where you need flights and a hotel for 5 days, then we're better. We can actually get you discounts that are cheaper than you get online.
Wow.
Often. And we'll make sure you're in the right hotel. And if heaven forbid something happens, we'll get online or we'll call them and we'll handle the changes. We'll make sure you get a better room. This is what we do. We get you upgrades you've been able to get yourself. We can do that. We have Expedia rooms like on the cruises that we book 2-3 years in advance. And so if you call RoyalCaribbean.com directly, the room is $1,000 a person. I can get it for you for $600.
Wow. That's a huge discount.
Yeah. And you won't even see that room on RoyalCaribbean.com because they don't have those rooms. It's only us.
Wow.
So we do the same in hotels with group tours. But like I said, if you do something last minute, it's going to change radically. Then I recommend doing it yourself. Same thing with flights. If it's just a flight, then it's probably because the challenge we have with flights is that being blunt is that things can change so quickly.
Yeah, of course.
You tell me book you a flight. Great. I book it. By the time you call me back and say, yes, I want that, the price has changed.
Yep. No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that industry moves very fluidly and extremely fast. I've learned that. Yeah,
correct. But if you're booking a vacation that's out there, then definitely have us do the hotel and air combo because we'll make sure that the flight changes, there's delays, the hotel gets changed, that all the flights match up. That sort of set thing far out, we're phenomenal at. And we help people save so many hours. It's unbelievable.
Got it. So I think there's a lot of clarity there. So if it's a last minute thing and you're just going to be in town for a day type stuff, just handle it on Expedia.com. But if you've got the urgency, you're going to be urgent in your time availability on something a couple weeks out, and you're there for 5 days or whatever, ask for the help from an agent because you'll get a better price and fewer headaches.
Yeah, and let's be real. If you're in Des Moines, Iowa or something, and there's nothing, the best you're going to get is an $80 roadway. We can't help you save money on that.
No.
It's going to be $3. And this way you don't got to worry about it. If you want to change it last minute, you do it yourself. So it's just being realistic.
I did find a hack in the middle of Iowa. If you can find a good casino nearby, you can stay at the casinos.
But here's the question. Do they still have the $5 prime rib they had when I was younger?
They still do.
Oh, because Vegas lost that, man. The strip is now out of control.
Yeah, I can't say I know the Vegas thing, but we ate like kings at these random casino brands I've never heard of. And my rule was always, I'm going to play $10 of slots. I'm going to play one $10 hand of blackjack. And I'm going to say I gambled. And every time I lost the money, that's fine. Yes. But I wanted to get a little bit of a sliver. But that was it.
Yes. I'm very similar. $100. That's my limit.
Yeah, good. Yeah, something reasonable. So I want to pivot really hard over to the branding again, because we were talking about that and you mentioned that you're good at branding. And I absolutely am pleasantly flabbergasted at the wild idea that you hatched with the cruise. Now I'll tip your hand and say she has a pet cruise for pet lovers. They can bring their pups on the cruise and hang out as a community. And I heard this and I thought, yeah, okay, sure. Because I'm not bringing my dog on a cruise. I'm finding a buddy for him to hang out with. But this sounds like it's going gangbusters for you.
It is. I must tell you that the first thing I learned was to give my 30-second elevator speech, because the first thing people think, and you and I are being totally transparent here, is 1,000 dogs pooping on a boat.
That's exactly what I thought of. Right? Yes. What do you do with that?
Exactly. So what I say to people is, it's the first time ever that there was a pet-centric dog cruise, and there are going to be 250 dog cabins out of, say, 1,000 or more rooms. Every cabin is going to be a balcony for the dog. They'll have a private relief station on the balcony, and there's going to be a pet butler. No dogs allowed anywhere in, say, human dining areas at all.
Okay.
So that sort of gives a little clarity just really quickly.
Yeah.
That there is a plan and a scope to it.
So what do you
right?
do with your pets on a cruise now? I mean, what's the entertainment? What's the plan? How does this work?
That's a great question. When I say pet-centric, I mean that normally in daily life, pets are tolerated. Mm-hmm. You may bring your pet to this restaurant, but it's got to be outside of these limitations, right? Mm-hmm. It's pet tolerated.
Yeah.
As we've already discussed, I'm very old. And when I was young, you could not get a room in New York City that took dogs. That's and then true. The Marriott started doing it. Now you must know, I'm a totally married person, but the Ritz-Carlton did it. The Residence Inn took dogs and they charge extra and there was dog size limitations, right? But now if you go to New York City to Expedia and you look at pet friendly as a category, there's a zillion. Now it's only a few rooms. Some charge extra, some don't. Some have pet extra stuff like they give you a pet bed and pet food. And some just tell you, yeah, just keep your dog quiet, but it's there now. Yeah. And that's because so many people do it. There are 11 million people who are Gen Xers and millennials who will not travel without their pets.
Wow. That's a big number.
Yeah. It's a huge number. So if their parents never took them on a cruise, they've never been and they never will go without their dog. So, one thing I love is, I'm kind of a Muhammad Ali fan in some ways, but one of my favorite phrases that I love is just impossible is a dare. I've done a lot of my life around that. Impossible. There's a whole speech I won't give you, but that's the bottom line. It's a dare. Impossible is impossible until it's not anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So everyone said this was impossible and it involved down the plan. And so, this is actually pet-centric, not pet-tolerated. So, for instance, there's going to be all kinds of pet activities. We're going to have pet costume parties, a pet parade. There's going to be dog walkers. And this is a big difference, too, is I'm bringing almost 100 people of my own staff.
Wow.
That was a huge difference. And that's one of the reasons why it was impossible before, because people thought about it from the perspective of the cruise line having to handle all that. They don't. We are doing this the same way there'd be any other themed cruise. So you might go on a cruise that is 80s music cruise. There's a bunch of 80s singers there and there are people on there handling them and they bring them on. It's sort of the same thing. So we're having we plan to have like a foam party or something like that. We have a dog play activity outside that'll be off leash. In public, dogs must always be leashed, always, unless they're in a safe off leash area.
Okay.
If people leave their rooms, the dogs have to be crated in the room because part of my deal with the cruise lines is that, nobody's rooms get eaten.
Right.
That's a big deal. Right. And then on top of that, on the first one, now we got a lot of kickback here. I've been called some names because we limited to smaller dogs in the first cruise, like 18 inches tall, 120 pounds. Next time I might go to 30 pounds because as I was explaining to somebody, I'm a little bit on, the chunky side. And I said that, smaller, chunky people are not your problem jumping overboard.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So it's more about the height. So we can't have any dogs jumping overboard. And these dogs are all small. So if they go overboard, it's because somebody threw them. Once again, that's humor. No one's going to do that.
Nope.
Just saying. They're not going over on their own.
Yeah.
And so that was really important on the first one. And then additionally, I said having their own. So that for a safety issue, that was important also, because if a little dog bites you, it's going to hurt your ankle.
Right.
Not that we're going to have that happen, but if it does, that's okay. Some big dog jumps you who goes crazy for some reason. Not saying they would. I'm just saying if on the off chance, they could take out, your face.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a liability thing for sure.
Completely liability thing. And I've had people call us names and, little dogs are noisier and they suck. And I'm like, look, I love all dogs. I've got friends who are mad at me because their dog can't go. We're your best friends. You got to take it. I'm like, I can't.
Well, there's insurance companies that won't take certain breeds. If you have a breed, they won't insure your home, Exactly. And there's whole communities that ban dogs of certain weights and sizes. Mm-hmm. The HOAs don't want the liability or whatever. It's not uncommon. And take it to the extreme. You can't have a pet lion. You can't have a pet wolf, right?
I love you. Yes.
So not that I'm a big dog guy. I grew up with boxers. That's a medium-sized dog. I had German Shepherds. I've had giant yellow labs, 125 pound. Wonderful dogs. Wonderful dogs. Yet they are also in a breed type that does have some restrictions.
Mm-hmm. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And these people who get angry, I don't understand them.
Well, they're passionate. They're passionate about their animals. They do love their animals. I see where the anger might come from, but I think it's just two belief ships crossing in the night.
And we tell them, if you ever want your dog to be able to cruise, you've got to support this. There's a step. We got to get there. The first one has to be flawless.
Yeah, we'll tell them to buy a small dog, crate the big dog, and come on the ship.
I love it. Yeah. So, we're like, look, if you don't like it, then you go ahead, you find a cruise that allows big dogs if you don't like ours.
Yeah, good luck. You're the only one on the planet. Yeah.
And there never will be if we don't get this one to work.
Yeah, and you will. What I love is I love that impossible is a dare. I've kind of lived that way, but I haven't had a motto for it. You just gifted that motto to me. Yes.
It's true.
Yeah. It's awesome.
And what we realize is one of the reasons I think differently than a lot of people, obviously. And what I do is I work things backwards.
Okay.
So we've had a bunch of people coming in saying, oh, what cruise do I take a dog on? I'm sorry, there's only one. And that was Cunard, who does 3 transatlantics a year for people who want to cross and not, have their dog fly and it's very limited. Yeah. The dog's not in your room. The dog stays in a certain area where they're contained and their staff walks them a couple times a day. And it's not an experience about the dogs at all. It's about the dogs are tolerated.
Yeah.
But at least they can do it. And they pay $1,500 to $2,500 a dog to do this. And it's booked out 2 years in advance, 23 dogs, I think it is.
What?
So
that's incredibly limited.
Yes, incredibly. It was only for people that want to cross the transatlantic, right? That's what it was for. And there's 3 a year. So, and it's not dog centric. This is designed for people to have fun with their dogs. Like I said, costume parties, and we're going to have a picnic area. We're going to have called Bark and Bubbles Brunch. Did you know, you're going to love this, did you know that there are chicken flavored bubbles you can blow?
Well, I do now. I had no clue. And I frankly don't want to taste chicken flavored bubbles, but dogs will love them.
Right. Exactly. I'll tell you what, if they come out with bacon flavored bubbles, my husband will never leave home. I'll get him to stay home constantly. So,
I am more of a bacon fan myself. It's that salty, man. Yeah. That's
right.
That is truly incredible. I think the weirdest thing I've ever learned on Bootstrapped Unicorns is that there's chicken flavored bubbles.
You said, there you go. I thought it'd be impossible to beat you, but that was a dare. See that?
Oh. I'm loving every bit of this. So Dawn, today we have learned a little bit about franchising, a lot about traveling, a lot about understanding how to book our business travel. And I'm frankly, Dawn, I am so inspired that you see impossible as a dare and are doing this dog cruise thing. It is the coolest. And so how do people get in touch with you? How could they get on the cruise?
They have to go to Cruise Tales, CruiseTails.com. Although I also bought Cruise Tales, TALES.com.
Sure.
Because I knew we started getting big that people would go there. But we're actually making that about the community more. Because this has become a community of people who want, they call it normalizing.
Okay.
They want to be more normal in the world for them to be out with their dogs and maybe isolated places, but still they want those. So yeah, go to cruisetales.com and there's an application and you have to read the protocols, which say that the dogs have to be created in the rooms. You must wear, use leashes outside. There's restrictions. We're having no kids in the first one. No one under 13. Because once again, I can't control a 5-year-old from running up to a dog, grabbing them and getting bitten. And I cannot have that happen on the first cruise.
No, that makes tons of sense. The restrictions are protective for this experiment, and it is a bit of an experiment. But
it is absolutely.
Out of curiosity, do you have to bring your own crate? I know you got to bring your own leash, but are you providing crates or do you bring your own?
We have crates if they need them. A lot of people who travel with their dogs often have these things already in their car. They have that. They have their own food.
Okay.
Because if dogs change food, it can get a little messy. I'm going into details about that. But if you have a dog, So a lot of it they have themselves. But we have a lot of great sponsors on this cruise because it became popular so fast. We got so much press. We were on 300 different news medias the first 2 weeks.
Phenomenal. And of course, why wouldn't you be? This is such a big idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 65 million dog owners in the country. So yeah, it's just huge. And it's a lot of fun. And the people that are doing it, we have people crying because they never thought they'd be able to have this experience. And that's just so heartwarming. Well,
you're doing good in the world. I love this.
Yeah, it's about, having fun helping people. That's sort of where I roll.
Phenomenal. So we got cruisetales.com. And then how does somebody like me who needs business travel get connected to you and Julio?
Let me tell you also my biggest secret on business travel. Okay. and this is just business person, right? Is that now you have to have decent credit to do this.
Sure. Okay.
But I teach my people as soon as they come on board as travel agents. And by the way, the travel agents, I actually call us partners.
Okay.
Because I paid a fortune for a beautiful location near Windermere. We have rope walls and a map wall and ocean carpeting, and it's phenomenal. But I pay for all that.
Yeah.
So they come in as their own business people, which I love because that gives them all the tax write-offs. But they also have ownership of their own business. We work together on it.
Oh, that's cool.
So one thing I teach them is one of the big benefits about being a travel agent is you can write off a lot of your travel, obviously, because you're learning something.
Yeah.
And I say this as someone who actually got audited for it and passed. So what I'll tell you is that the thing I teach them right away is as long as they have decent credit, if they can manage it, is to get cards that earn miles. Because even if you can get a great deal on a hotel through us or a cruise through us, you still got to get there, right?
Right.
And the hardest part of that, sometimes last minute, is often going to be your flights. So I teach them to use their credit cards as legal money laundering devices.
That's what they are.
Filter. Everything goes through the credit card. And that's how we travel first class all the time. I won't pay $4,000 a piece to go to Europe, but we use miles to do it. And so that's the biggest thing as a business person. I can tell you, if you can put everything on your card and filter it and pay it off 100% every month. Now, your listeners listening, if you're the kind of person to buy something big and doesn't pay it off, do not do this.
Right.
Do not do this. This only works if you can keep filtering money through it.
Right.
And I don't pay any interest. I pay everything off every month. And we earn a zillion miles by doing that.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. So you really almost have to probably have a spreadsheet, keep yourself on track.
I do have a spreadsheet. I do.
Yeah, of course.
You know me so well already, Josh. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. And I know how many miles we have and what they are and what the deals are. And they actually have search engines now. Like I use Roame, ROAME.travel, or there's point.me. And they actually will now do searches for you by award points, not just money.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is my biggest thing because I want you to come to us for the trips. We'll help you find the right trip, the right kind of trip, whether it's a guided tour, whether it's a yacht cruise, whether it's, whatever. But you still got to get there. And while we can get you good deals on flights, nothing beats free.
I like free. Free 99 is really good for me.
Free is our friend. Yes, free is our friend. And like I said, I'll use the points. And the other thing is, like with a lot of the cards now, I would not get like just a Delta card anymore. Mm-hmm. I always have cards now, like I have the Capital One Venture X card, or the Chase Sapphire is a great one because they have all different airlines you can use.
Got it. Yeah, you're not bought into one airline.
We went to New York at Christmas. My husband's from Brooklyn. And we went there and it was going to be like $1,000 for the flights. Mm-hmm. But instead, JetBlue had 10,000 miles, came back. United had 11. But otherwise, they were 40,000 a piece if you went on each one totally.
Wow.
So instead, I got for half the miles because using my card, I could use both of them.
That's really cool.
So that is my biggest tip for business people. If you have a business, filter everything you can through your cards.
That makes total sense. Well, Dawn, thank you. This was fun. As I promised, off the air, I've got a big idea I want to share with you because impossible is a dare. And I think we've got one to talk about. And unicorns, you're probably going, well, Josh, just tell me. No, I can't. Not yet. We are going to tell you when it's real and more real. It's already real, but it's got to be a little bit bigger and then we'll reveal it to you. So keep listening to the show. Hang out with us. If you haven't been on the Facebook page, please join us. Bootstrapped Unicorns, Entrepreneurship and Marketing Facebook page. There's a tiny application to join. There's no fees. You cannot sell in there. I try not to sell in there. It's iron sharpens iron. It's business professionals learning from each other, talking about things, growing together. So just join us in there. The only way you're going to get a no is if you're not on some kind of entrepreneurship journey. We just want somebody who's either contemplating becoming an entrepreneur or actually doing it. And I've got millionaires in there. I got billionaires in there. I got people who own a whole bunch of businesses. Dawn's getting a phone call in her office right now. She's going to answer it live. And this is Bootstrapped Unicorns, folks. We're just going for it. And I will say that at the end of every episode, I remind you, you should get back to work.